The word for you today, it's Tuesday, February the 20th. Title is God Knows What is Best for You. You know, God really does know what's best for us, regardless sometimes whether we agree with Him or not. He knows what's best. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 21 says, "Many are the plans in a man's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." What's Solomon talking about here? He says that we can make our plans, and you know, it's good to make plans, and we ought to. But if we make our plans without seeking God's direction and guidance, it's like driving down the road with limited vision. Remember when I moved to Oklahoma, I ran across these signs in the highway. It says, "Do not drive into smoke." It's a clear day, not a cloud in the sky. I'm thinking, are they joking? What's going on? Well, I found out later that sometimes fields get on fire and the smoke comes across the highway and you can't see very far. There might be somebody stopped in your lane and you won't see them until it's too late. You've got to have good vision to be able to see where you're going. And our good vision is trusting God and listening to God and following God, because He knows what is best for us, whether we recognize it or not. So why is it important to seek God? How do we know that He knows what's best? Well, God knows the future. So He knows what's best for us in any situation. He's what the Bible calls omniscient. He's all-knowing. God knows all things. You know, you get in a car and you have a flat tire and it makes you late. I don't know about you, but I'd be in a bad mood. But maybe that flat tire kept you from being in an accident 2 or 3 blocks away. Never know. God knows the future, and He cares about us, and He watches over us. I'm not saying God caused the flat tire, but maybe He does sometimes to protect us. And you know, and sometimes God allows us to suffer to make us stronger. It's usually in the suffering that we develop perseverance. And that perseverance leads us to being able to handle things that life throws at us. And we learn to trust God through that too. Also, God knows the best direction for us. He gave Jonah a mission. And He knew it was best for Jonah to go because Jonah needed to forgive these people as well. But Jonah ran away from Him. Jonah was a bad example of following God and knowing that God knew what was best in spite of what he wanted. God also told another man, Abraham, to do something, to go and sacrifice his only son, to kill his only son. And Abraham went, and he was obedient to God all the way up to the point. God wasn't about to let him kill his son. Abraham was a good example of knowing that God knows what's best for us, even if we don't understand it. And then God knows how we're wired. He knows how we're made so that the plans He has for us, we're most likely to succeed in them. Psalm chapter 139, verses 15 and 16. Psalmist says, "My frame was not hidden from You when I was made in the secret place. When I was woven together in the depths of the earth, Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in Your book before one of them came to be." God knows us completely. He knew us before we were even born. God, in Ephesians, He tells us that He has plans for us. He has plans for us that He determined ahead of time. And how could He determine ahead of time? Because He knew what was best for us. He knew what we were like. God obviously didn't put it in plans for me to record any albums or musical recordings because He knew that I wouldn't be good at that. He didn't put those things in front of me. In the same way, God knows what's you're best at. He knows what's best for you. And He's put those plans in place for you to do that. Since God knows what's best for us, and He's put those plans in place, He also knows which ones will cause us problems. So we need to listen to Him. We need to follow Him. And the way we listen to Him is we spend time in prayer, we spend time in Bible study. And when we do that, we learn to hear God's voice. And the more we hear God's voice, it becomes very easy to hear Him. It's similar to similar to a chef who's cooking, and the chef just knows automatically certain herbs, certain spices, certain things mixed together are going to work well or they're not. He doesn't even have to think about it. As we pray, we listen to God, it becomes very clear. In sports, teams practice over and over. They practice their plays over and over and over. Why? So they don't have to think about it. They just do it automatically. Same way with a musician. They practice over and over so they don't have to think about it. It just comes out because they practiced it right. And it's the same thing in looking for what we're to do in our lives. God knows what is best for us, and He doesn't hide it. He wants us to know. So the better we get to know God, the more easy it is for us to hear His direction. And then when we hear that direction, we can do it, and my goodness, life is so much better. Maybe you're struggling with a decision today. Maybe there's something you don't know quite what to do. Would you take time, maybe right now, just take time and say, God, what is it you want me to do here? Do you want me to say something to this person or not? Do you want me to do this or this? God, I need to know. And then just spend time with God listening. God knows what is best for you, and He wants to tell you. Question is, will we be willing to listen? Have a good day.